Hey people out there, nice to see your, well, I can't quite see your faces. I wish I could, that it was a two-way mirror here. But I want to say hello to you all. It's Thursday again. Hey, Kathy, thanks for popping in. And that's Aoife, very good. Nice to see people's faces jumping in. I had, hey, come introduce yourself, give me a wave if you're popping in. I had one custom request today where someone wanted to see on camera how you would create a faux side seam in the round. So I'm going to attempt to do that, but it might be a little tricky. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually downstairs in the kind of the shop space, because upstairs I'm finishing recording the blanket videos for the Celtic Knit Club. I'm joining them up together, so everything's laid out on the table, and I know, knowing my luck, if I go up there and do a live up there, that I end up giving a sneak peek of something in the background. So I'm going to keep it all secret and keep it downstairs. So I'm also unexpectedly, hey, thank you for joining in. I've been kind of caught unawares with the weather today, because when I left the house this morning, it was really damp and cold, and there was kind of it looked like a good chance there was going to be showers today. Instead, blazing sunshine outside, and I'm passing out. So I think I'm going to have to strip off after the live is over, because I'm definitely a little overdressed for the day that's in it. So this is one of my cozy pieces that I pull out whenever I can. It was from a few years ago. It was Dolmite from the Among Stones collection. And yeah, it's definitely a nice cozy piece, but cozy is not good when you're overheated. Now, before I go on to my demonstration, I should probably say to you as well, for anyone, let me pick it up, anyone who is waiting for the Laminarius knit along, there's been a couple of requests for this particular colour, the colour combination. This one is Mosquito Coast for the darker colour, and Frog on the Wall for the second colour. Frog on the Wall had been out of stock for a week or two, started this week. I got a huge big delivery, so they're all now back in stock. So if you've been waiting to order one of the kits for the Laminarius, now is a good time to jump in, because it doesn't start until the 27th, so you have lots of time to get your yarn. And there's an automatic discount if you bundle the pattern and the yarn together. You get 10% off both of them, but that stops as soon as the knit along goes live. So I would suggest, if you're contemplating jumping in, to do it sooner rather than later. So just a little reminder. You might also, I'll have a quick walk over here afterwards to the wall of Nua, so that you can also kind of take a look at some of the other colours and things and see how they all look like together. So if there's anything you would like me to show you there, or anything as we're going through, just pop it up in the comments, and I'll see if I can get to it or show you or talk about it as we go through. So I'm going to pull over. Here we go. This is Dakite here, which was where the question about the faux side seams came in. Because in the side of this here, yeah, you can see it there, down along the side, this section here, there's what for something in the round is known as a faux side seam. When you're doing it back and forth on the right side, what you do is you slip that stitch with the yarn in the back, and then when you're working the wrong side row, you just purl that stitch. When you're doing it in the round, you need to hi Kathy, New Jersey, I imagine it's early in the morning, well, earlier in the day. When you're doing it in the round, you're coming at it from the same side each time, so you're always on the front of the work. So you still will slip with the yarn in the back, but then when you come to it on the next round, instead of purling it, you're going to knit it. So I'm going to go pull this over here and give it a shot at, well, yes, it will let me turn the camera around. Let me turn the camera around and drop it down over here, and I'll see if I can show you on needles. You're working on the Scout shawl with Nua Sport. Oh, good. It's, yeah, that's one of the benefits of Nua, is because all of the colors have got this real rustic backdrop, they play really nicely together. Hang on, let me come over here to a bit more light. All right, here we go. So if you want to make this a side seam, on the right side you would come slip that stitch, and then you'll continue knitting on. And then this is me working in the round here. And normally, if you're coming back across this way, say this is back and forth and not in the round. When you come back across here, there's the slip stitch here. You can see there's a bar behind. You'll just go ahead and knit that or purl that stitch all the way across there. But if you're working it in the round, you'll come across and you will knit it as you come across it. It won't look any different. And in fact, to make sure you don't miss it as you're going back and forth, you probably will want to put a marker in front of it or a marker on the stitch, and also to keep track of if you're, on the round that you're going to be slipping or the round that you're going to be knitting, because that's often quite tricky. And if you get stuck, you come to a round and you're like, oh, I can't remember if that was slipped the last time. I'll usually come back, double check to see if there's that little bar across the back, which means that you slipped it the last time you encountered it, and that means that the next time you encounter it, you just knit it. So it's the main thing is just put a marker so that you know exactly where it's going to be. All right, let me flip this around and pull this back up again so you're not looking at the ceiling. And I'm going to come back over here. I'll drag my stand so that you can see it. And I'm going to come stand in front of the Nua here and sit down and show you this side here. Where are we? These ones here are all of my Nua. So you can probably, where are we? This one here, that is the Bare Necessities. And Bare Necessities is the undyed color. And you can see because it's, because of the yak, you've got this little beigey undertone going through the whole thing, and all of these colors are over dyed on top of this. And what that means is when you over dye with that kind of a color underneath, it's much easier to get this kind of a more rustic, soft, I suppose easily combined colors. It's one of the reasons why a lot of the colors are nice to combine, that you can take a couple of different colors and get them to interplay and they work really well. And it's, I think a big part of it is because of the over dyeing over this is really helpful. So these two, you're out of shot, here we go. These two are the ones for the Laminarius that I showed you. Up here, this is Figment, and that's combined with the Bare Necessities in the combinations. This one here is Broken Tiles, and it's combined with Rolling Bales for a lovely bright combo. And actually that was quite a popular one in the kits. And for another combination, this Rolling Bales, and let me find it over here, Koppel, which is, let me pull Koppel up. Koppel here is, it's brown, but again, because of the linen through it, you can see when it's dyed with the darker colors, you get all of these little flecks of slightly lighter colors running through it as well. So it never ceases to amaze me how the different fibers in the yarn have a huge impact on how it dyes. Because even though you can say, okay, we're going to dye it whatever color, push your yarn into a vat, and if you've got a blend of fibers, each of those is going to actually take up that dye differently. And so in the case of this, because there's 20% linen, the linen doesn't absorb the dye to the same degree, and it stays really light. And that's actually why it looks tweedy, because it often surprises people and they're wondering why it has that tweedy effect, assuming that it's hand dyed or something along those lines. And it's actually just because of the variation in the different fibers that went into the mix. So I know you didn't necessarily ask about that, but I love the way that fibers can surprise you, that you think you go like, okay, let's combine these and dye it and see what happens. And then when it comes out the other end after the dyeing process, it can often do something unexpected and surprising and sometimes wonderful, and kind of create an extra depth of field or depth of dye that you weren't necessarily expecting, you know. So yeah, I'm kind of this week has been kind of a regathering week for me. I think the reason for that is Ireland is kind of slowly reopening. This week Click and Collect have opened, so it is available for anyone who is in Cork on my shop. You can go, when you check out, you can put down Click and Collect, and I'll send you an email when it's ready to be collected. And from next week, in theory next week, it's fully opened. It'll probably take me a day or two because the space down here isn't quite ready yet for people coming in and out. I need to do a bit of reorganization and moving things between shelves, and I've got unbuilt shelves on the floor and things like that. So I think Monday is probably a little bit, it's a bit high on the expectation list, because my help, one of my sons who's been working with me over the term, he's doing exams at the moment, so he will be out of action until next week. So I'll have my handyman and my order packer will be back in action next week once he's on holidays from college. So that will be excellent, and I can get the shop up and in shape. And next Thursday, maybe this will hold me accountable. Next Thursday, I'll give you a little tour around the shop, and you can all berate me if I haven't got it finished and I'm ready to open yet at that point. But let's do a little shop tour next Thursday, and I can show you all of the shelves and everything laid out in all its glory. There's something very different about being able to put things on shelves rather than leave them in plastic in the storage space. It brings the whole thing to life, and it reminds me of how much yarn I love to knit with. In fact, it's kind of torturous because even sitting down in the shop space, I just want to keep re-knitting something new. What's the name of the yarn top row on left green? Hang on a second. Oh, up over here, is it? Up above where I'm sitting? This one up here? Oh, that one is Tabbouleh. I'm not sure if that is what you were talking about. If not, let me know and I can answer kind of further down in the various queries. Because, yeah, not certain, I'm afraid. But anyway, so that's kind of the update for me this week. There's a lot of sitting and thinking through things. Oh, anyone who's in